Hi, good morning everyone, or good afternoon depending on what part of the world you're connecting from. My name is Jesus Nava. I'm the Director of Client Training and Education here at TradeStation, and it is a pleasure to be here with all of you. I am broadcasting from the city of Plantation right here in the state of Florida. It is 10:30 a.m. at the moment where I'm at, and I want to welcome everyone that has taken time from your schedules to be here in getting started with TradeStation. I believe we are all here for the same reason. We want to learn TradeStation and see if there's any new bells and whistles that we need to be aware of. You probably got started with TradeStation recently and have installed the platform on your computer and just need a little bit of help on how to get around the TradeStation functionality. Before we get started, here's an important disclosure. Keep in mind that every symbol and idea that we talk about here today is for educational purposes only. It is not a recommendation of TradeStation, and everyone should be aware of all the risks that are associated with trading online. It should only be done with risk capital, and you should always have a backup plan when it comes to internet and electricity because you could lose access to your trading platform. I am going to share 2 additional links that go into more detail about those disclosures if you'd like to read a little bit more about them, and they're also accessible from the TradeStation website, www.tradestation.com. All right, disclosures out of the way, let me switch over here to my TradeStation platform. In this presentation, I am using TradeStation 10. This is a very introductory class, very basics for those that are just starting with TradeStation. If you'd like to get access to TradeStation 10 and you don't have it, I recommend you send an email to preview@tradestation.com. Send an email requesting access to TradeStation 10. There's 2 things that our team will need. They'll need your customer ID number and your network ID. If you do not know where to get this information, go to your TradeStation platform, and if you go to the help and click on About TradeStation right here, this will give you information about your TradeStation, including your customer number and your network ID. Okay, let's get started. When you first launch TradeStation 10, it's open on this workspace, which is called TradeStation Today. And we have created this workspace to help you be informed of what's happening on TradeStation at any given moment. First of all, on the top, you see a timer of when the market closes. Right here, we have a box for the featured video. Also, below that, there's recommended workspaces. If you still haven't gotten a handle over TradeStation and you need some guidance on how to set up your workspaces, we have some sample workspaces that you can look at by clicking on any of those boxes there. Right here in the middle, we have included the TradeStation social media feed. Over here on the right, we have upcoming events, so you can see what's happening today. Today we have the Getting Started with TradeStation Trading platform. And if you click on the dates here on the right-hand side, you'll see all the events that are upcoming, and you can register from within this workspace. Right, so this is a workspace that loads up every time you open up TradeStation. It's a great starting point to see what's happening on TradeStation at this time. If you want to open up your workspaces, there's multiple ways you can do that. I did say that you can open up the sample workspaces here on the left-hand side, or you can go up to the top. There's a file menu. You can go to the file menu, go to workspaces, and click on open workspace and see what are the sample workspaces that are built into TradeStation. In this class, I'm going to start from scratch. So the way that I open up a new workspace, and I think this is very convenient, I'm just going to come over here at the bottom of my TradeStation. And towards the right-hand side, you're going to see a little plus sign. Click on that plus. Once I click on it, notice that at the bottom right here, I have an untitled workspace. And every time you click on that plus sign at the bottom, it opens up a blank workspace. And at the top, it drops down the trading apps that you can open up within this workspace. We have a lot of trading apps that you can access in TradeStation. So whether you're looking to do some chart analysis or some trading on the matrix, or you want to look at time and sales or do some scanning, all the trading apps are going to be available at the top. And I'm going to start off with a chart analysis window. So I'm just going to click on chart analysis from this dropdown. That opens up a chart. And I can see it right here on the screen. If I need a second chart, I can just very quickly come up here to apps and then click on chart analysis a second time. And that'll open up a second chart analysis window on my screen. And you can do that as many times as you need to. You can go to the trading apps and open as many apps as you can fit in one view. Now these windows can be moved, so I can click on the title bar and move them to a different location. I can click on a corner of any of these windows and resize them so that they're any size that I want. Or one of the features that I like to use here in TradeStation is to go to the window menu, and I like to click on Arrange All, because this allows me to find a space within my workspace to organize the windows in one view. So you can see how my charts are now side by side. Once I have all the apps that I want to look at and I have them all laid out the way that I want to be able to save this. And saving is very important, because once you save a workspace, next time that you log on to TradeStation, your workspaces will be there exactly as you left them. And that's very convenient. You don't have to recreate everything from scratch. So at the bottom here, you can see how the tab says Untitled Workspace. To save it, I'm going to go to the File menu, go to the Workspaces menu, and I'm going to click on Save Workspace. Okay, I'm going to call this 2 charts and click on Save. And you can see how the tab now is called 2 charts. It is saved to my hard drive, so that next time I log on to TradeStation, this workspace will be the exact same way that I left it. I'm going to create a new workspace. I'm going to come over here to the right-hand side and click on this plus. And on this untitled workspace, I'm going to create a matrix. Matrix is a great order entry tool, and this is the one that I'm going to showcase right here in class. Let me resize it so that we can see more of it right here on the screen. All right, once I have it open, I'm just going to, again, save this workspace by going to the File menu, Workspaces, Save Workspace, and I'm going to call this my matrix. So it's going to take some time for you to experiment, go through all the different apps, decide what you're going to be using and what apps you're not going to be using, organize your workspaces, save them. Notice that as I open my workspaces, they are aligned at the bottom of my TradeStation, allowing me to switch back and forth between them. I can see all the different views by clicking on the tabs here. Very convenient. So take TradeStation for a test drive and start organizing your work in the way that is comfortable to you. There's no right way. There's no wrong way. It's just the way that works for you. Nowadays, we have computers that support multiple monitors. Right now, I'm using a computer that has 2 monitors connected to it. So I can go to the File menu, Desktops, and open up a new desktop. Desktop is a concept that is going to help you open up another instance of TradeStation, but on a separate monitor. It helps if you have a computer that has multiple monitors, so that you can have TradeStation on one and another TradeStation on another with different workspaces, different apps. It makes it very, very useful and very efficient to use TradeStation. So give that a try if you have multiple monitors, and you'll see how convenient it is. Let me come over here to my 2 charts workspace. I'm going to resize one of these charts because I don't need 2. I just was showing you that you can organize charts in one view. First thing that I'm going to show you is how to maneuver around the chart analysis. Press the up arrow key on my keyboard. I'm looking at a chart. It's a candlestick chart, but the candles are really small. So if I want to expand the view and look at more detail, I press the up arrow key on my keyboard, and I do that multiple times, and you can see how the chart expands. If you want to squeeze the chart and contract the spacing so that you see more historical data, do the opposite. Do the down arrow key and press it multiple times so you can see more data. All right? Another thing that I wanted to show you on charts is how to change the symbol. If you look on the top left corner, you can see the symbol that is loaded right here on my chart. This is Cisco. TradeStation is responsive to keyboard commands, so if you want to change anything on the window that you're looking at, it's very convenient to just type in the command. In this case, if you want to take a look at Apple, I type in AA APL. And you can see that right in the middle of the window, there's a command line that pops up, because as soon as you start typing, TradeStation assumes that you're going to provide it a command. I'm typing the symbol, AAPL, I hit enter, and that changes the symbol on the chart. Anytime you want to change the symbol, it doesn't matter what window it is, type in the new symbol, hit enter, and that changes the symbol. Another thing that you can change using keyboard commands is the data interval. Everybody sees the time frame right here, it's 5 minutes. If I want to look at a daily chart of Apple, I can just type in the word daily. I'll do that right now. You can see the command line right here in the middle. I hit enter, and I see a daily chart of Apple. The same applies for minute intervals. If I want to do a 30-minute, type in 30 space MIN, short for minute right there, 30 MIN, hit enter, and I'm looking at a 30-minute chart of Apple. So changing the symbol and changing the time frame, very easy. Type it in, and the chart responds. You can also come up here, right here in the box, and type in the new symbol. That's totally fine as well. Or if you notice right next to the symbol box, there's a time frame drop down, which allows you to select a time frame for the chart very quickly. A couple things that I want to show you on the chart as well is some technical analysis and some drawing tools. But before I do so, I want to point out at some of the information that is showing right here on my chart. Because if you see, there's some blue arrows and some red arrows right here on my chart, and there's a line right here on the right hand side showing me some account information. The chart by default, when you open it up, it'll show you the historical trades so you can see where you entered and exited the market. Blue are long, red are short entries. And right here on the far right, it's telling me that I have a position open. You can see how my P&L is changing in real time. It tells me that I have a P&L of $910 as we speak, and I'm short 500 shares of Apple. And I entered, you see the yellow price right here on the right-hand side? That's my entry price. I entered at 175.08. The current price is 173.21, and I am making some money on that position. One thing that I also wanted to point out is that these trades that I've entered and these positions are all done on a trading simulator. As a TradeStation user, you have access to trading with paper money, so you don't have to risk your capital if you're in the process of getting familiarized or practicing TradeStation's functionality. If you look at the bottom of my TradeStation, right here where my cursor is, right here at the corner, you can see there's two indicators. There's my trading indicator and my data indicator. The trading one is in blue, which means that it's simulated and it has the letters SIM. If you were connected to your live account, it would be green and it would say live. So always be aware of the environment that you're connected to, because we can very easily make a mistake and not be on the environment we want to be. If you want to disconnect quickly, just double click on any of those two indicators. By double clicking there, you are disconnecting TradeStation from the internet, and you can use it offline. But if you double click it again, it'll ask you for the username and password to be able to connect TradeStation to the internet. So very quickly you can double click on those two indicators to disconnect and reconnect TradeStation. Michael is asking about a web-based version. There is a web-based version of TradeStation. The one that I'm showing right now, it's installed on the computer. It's a software. It runs very quickly because of that, because it's not web-based. You don't have to be tied to the responsiveness of the internet. But we do have a web trading utility that allows you to access your TradeStation on the web. We do a class, and that's going to be next Tuesday at 12 p.m. that talks about web trading and also our mobile app. Let's talk a little bit about technical analysis and drawing tools. All your technical analysis, if you're looking for, let's say, MACDs or Bollinger Bands, moving averages, they're all going to be available right here from within the chart. So we click on Studies, and we click on Add Study, and everything will be there. They are organized in categories. You can see the categories right here on the left-hand side. Most of the ones that are popular are going to be inside indicator. I'm going to scroll down on this list of indicators and I'm going to use something that you're very familiar with, which is a moving average. I'm going to select the one that is a two-line moving average and click OK. All right, as you can see on my chart, it puts the two lines on my screen. Anytime you want to make changes to something that's on the chart, whether it is a symbol, an indicator, or a drawing tool, you're going to get used to double clicking on it because it's the fastest way of accessing the formatting of that item. So if I want to change the moving average, I double click on it and I can go to a tab here called Style. And I'm just going to change the thickness of those lines so that they're easier to see on the screen. I can change the defaults, say yes, change the defaults. I click OK. And you can see how the lines are a little thicker on the screen, and you can do that on your TradeStation. One of the things that TradeStation does for you is that it's fully customizable. You can change pretty much anything on your platform. So if you don't like the look of TradeStation, if you don't like the colors, if you don't like the thickness, if you don't like anything that you're looking at on the screen, it can pretty much be customized. And just double click on that item that you want to format or edit, and it'll take you to that dialog where you can make a lot of changes. One thing that I'm going to do to these moving averages that I've just inserted, you probably noticed that I didn't supply the parameters that I wanted. I wanted to have a 30 and a 60 bar moving average. Analysis techniques or indicators in TradeStation, all of them have default parameters. But if you want to change the way that they're calculated, you'd have to edit the indicator. And again, if I want to edit these moving averages, I'm going to double click on them. Inputs is the tab that I need to go to in order to supply the parameters that I want. In this case, I'm going to say that the fast length, it's a 30, and this low length, I want it to be a 60. This is, by the way, these are bars, number of bars. We're looking at a 30-minute chart, so it's going to take 30 of those candles and 60 of those candles and do the calculations. That's how indicators work in TradeStation. So once I click OK, you can see how the two lines redraw. They recalculate because now they're using the parameters that I supplied. So anytime you want to make changes to an indicator, double click on it, change the parameters, and voila. One thing that you probably notice on my screen is that here on the left-hand side, the lines are truncated. They don't continue. And that's probably because I don't have enough historical data. If I press the down arrow key on my keyboard multiple times, you're going to see how there's a black area on the right-hand side that opens up. It's because this is all the data that's loaded on my chart. There's not enough historical data. And TradeStation does that for efficiency purposes. Most of the time, you're going to be worried about what's happening right now, not what has happened historically. But sometimes you're going to want to load historical data and see where Apple has been historically. So in this case, if I want to load more data, and you guessed it right, I can just type in my request. Let's say that right here I see like about maybe 10 or 15 trading days. And how do I know that? Because the trading days are kind of divided, and you're going to see that on your own TradeStation. There's like a dotted gray line that goes across the chart vertically that divides the trading sessions based on, the interval that you are looking at. So I see these gray dotted lines that show me where the session ends and where the session begins. I'm going to load more historical data. I'm going to say, give me 30 days, 30 space days. I hit enter. You can see how there's more data on the chart. And I can continue and do all sorts of commands. So if you want to do, let's say, 6 months, just type it in, hit enter, and now have 6 months of data. And you can take it, up to weeks and years. You can use all those different variations. If you want 5 years of historical data on Apple, that data is available on the TradeStation server, and it's just a matter of you requesting that data, and it'll be loaded on your TradeStation. One thing that I forgot to tell you, if you want to clean your chart from all your trading activity, if you trade a lot, you're going to see a lot of signals on the candles. And if you're doing some technical analysis, you may want to remove that information. Here we have a button for settings right here on the chart. And from settings, I'm going to click on account orders and positions because this is where you can turn it off and on. I click here, I check the status right here, uncheck it for Apple, click OK, and you can see how the trading information plus the position information goes away, which sometimes is convenient if you want to do some technical analysis. If you like drawing on the chart, you're going to find all your drawing tools right here. The toolbar is embedded right there at the top of the chart, which is very efficient. I click on drawing and I have all these drawing tools that I can use. If you have any questions about any of the tools that are here, we have great help documentation that you can access from the help menu. But let me show you one simple drawing tool. I'm going to do a horizontal line because horizontal line is a quick way for me to do a price alert. If I look at, let me scroll here to the right hand side. Okay. If I look at the price here of Apple is at 173. Let me open up the chart a little bit more here. Okay, this is the chart of Apple. It's on a 30-minute interval. It's trading at 173.24. Let's say that I want to be notified if it reaches 174, and 174 is up here. So I'm going to click on drawing and click on horizontal line. I'm going to try to draw the line right on 174. So I click where I see the 174, and if you look on the left-hand side, it actually drew it at 174.01. I can click and drag that line to any price that I want. I'm going to drop it right here in 174. I want to be alerted if Apple touches that line. Alerts are available within TradeStation, but by default they're turned off. So in order for you to get alerted, you have to turn the alert on. That is true for drawing tools and indicators. So over here, I'm just going to double click on that line to format it. And notice that there's a tab for alerts. I click on alerts, enable the alert, and that's it. As soon as I put a check there for enable alert and I click OK, as soon as Apple touches that line, I'm going to be alerted. Same goes with moving averages. Let me go ahead and change this chart to a daily chart. All right, you can see how we still have our drawing, we still have our horizontal line at 174. There was a previous line that I had drawn and it stays there, but I can remove that line. If you want to remove anything from the chart, click the item that you want to remove and press delete on the keyboard. Get rid of it. When you put in an indicator, let's say like the moving average right here on the screen, as a trader, what you're looking for is for the moving averages to cross. See, right now they're separating right there on the current bar, but if they cross, the moving average concept says that there could be a change in trend. So what we're looking for is that cross. Now I can sit here in front of Apple and wait for the cross to happen, but that could take days. So what I can do is I can turn on an alert on that moving average so that as soon as the cross happens, then I get alerted. The same way that we did on the horizontal line, I can double click on these lines, go to the alerts, and enable the alert. The rule, the criteria, it's already programmed into the indicator. So you don't have to say, well, if they cross, alert me. No, you just come here, turn it on, and that's pretty much all you need to do. Once it's on, I click OK, and now the alert is turned on for Apple. As long as I have this chart open, because TradeStation has to be open in order for you to get that alert, now I can go to something different and be assured that as soon as Apple crosses over of those two moving averages, I'm going to be alerted. And if you go to the alert tab, you're going to see that you can set up different sounds, you can set up pop-up messages to show up on TradeStation. It makes it very clear that something has happened on your TradeStation. We've talked about navigation. We've talked about creating workspaces at the bottom. I showed you a little bit about charting, where to find your indicators, how to format the indicators, how to do a little bit of drawing. Now I want to transition over to trading and show you how to do some trading on TradeStation. And my trading tool of choice is the Matrix. And I'll tell you in a little moment why the Matrix is so efficient to trade on. At the very top of TradeStation, I already spoke to you about the apps. This is where you find all the trading apps. We have multiple order entry tools in TradeStation. But there's two additional bars that give you trading functionality as well. First, the trade bar. This is the classic trade bar that you find on TradeStation that has the buy, the sell. It's very manual because you have to fill in every single box before you can click on buy or sell, but it's there for you to use. And every time you want to trade, just hover over trade. It drops down the trade bar. If you want to keep it there, there's a little pin right there. Hold on. If you go over here to the left, there's a little pin. If you click it, then your order bar will remain there at the top of TradeStation. But if you click on that pin again, it'll auto hide. And you also have access to a position graph bar. The position graph bar on TradeStation is very convenient because it tells you how your positions are doing. I like to have that position graph bar fixed on at the top of TradeStation, so I pin it right there. What it tells me is it gives me a little box for every single position that I own. Inside the box, it tells me the symbol that I have. And if it's a plus, it's a long position. Like right over here, Apple, you see how it's a minus? It's green because it's making money, but it's a short position because it's minus Apple. Right there inside the box, it tells me how much money I'm making or how much money I'm losing. So it's very convenient to have all your positions at the top because at a glance you can see, oh, this position needs attention. I better get to it and see what's going on. For example, with gold right here, gold, I'm long one contract and I'm losing about $500, maybe something that I need to pay attention to. The numbers that you see on either side of the graph is the maximum drawdown and maximum run-up. What does that mean? Well, if you look at gold, for example, at gold, at one moment I was losing 560, but not anymore. I'm losing 530 now. And at one point, if you look on the right-hand side, I was making $460. So at one point it was positive, but now it's negative. So you can see where the position has been throughout the live of that position, since you entered that position or since you logged on last. So that's a position graph bar. I like to keep it on top. Let's talk about the matrix and why I think it's a great window to trade on. Let's go ahead and load up something where I don't have a position. So because I do have a position on Cisco, and I did tell you how to change the symbol on a window. Type it in. So I'm going to type in BAC for Bank of America. Notice how the same command line that shows up in chart shows up here in matrix. All right, I just changed the symbol to Bank of America. I'm going to make the numbers a little bit bigger so that they're easier to see on your side. So let me go, when I go to settings up here, see there's always a settings button on every single window or every single app that you open in TradeStation. I'm going to go to settings and modify the window. And I'm going to go to font and just make the font bolder and a little bigger. That way it's better on the screen. There we go. That's much better. What's going on here? Well, first of all, I point out the current trading price. Bank of America is this highlighted price that you see right there in the middle, $26.78. The 100 that you see on the left, it is the last traded size. So whatever the last transaction for Bank of America was, it was for 100 shares. But what I like about the matrix is that you also see other traders, other market players. How do you see them? Right here in the blue, you're going to see buyers. And the number that you see inside the cell is the number of shares that are waiting to get filled at each one of the price levels. If you're a buyer, you're going to want a lower price for Bank of America. And on the red column, you have all the sellers. These are people that want to sell their shares of Bank of America. They have sent orders to the market, and we can see the number of shares that are waiting to get filled at each one of those prices. This is called market depth, and you can use it as a market sentiment indicator telling you where the pressure is. Is it on the buying side or the selling side? So you can put your order or submit your order, place your order in context with what's happening to the market. I can also see this a line right there in the matrix that shows me the high of today. So the high of Bank of America was 26.86 and the low was 26.72. So you can see where the current trading price is in relationship to the current trading range. This little line right here on the left-hand side, that's the open of today. Not only that, but you can also see right here on the right-hand side where you see the bars and you see the actual numbers, that is the specific number of shares that have been traded at each one of these price levels. So you can see the price that has been traded the most is 26.77, although 26.78, the one that has the little V next to it, is the volume weighted average price. And one of the things that makes, the matrix one of the most efficient windows to trade on, it makes it very easy for you to place orders. Looking here on the right hand side, a market order, buy market, short market. So if I want to do a market order, I can very quickly do that here. I check my quantity. Let's say that I only want to do 100 shares this time. I change it to 100, and I can click on buy market, and gives me a confirmation window. The confirmation window is going to tell you information about the order you're about to place, including the estimated cost, what your commission is going to be. For this class, I'm going to disable confirmations so that you can see how one-click order or order execution works. I'm going to click on yes.
Order filled.
And I'm not sure if you heard that, but I get an audible confirmation that my order got filled. I see that I got filled at 26.80. You can see that because it draws a horizontal bar showing you where the entry price was. And right here on the left-hand side, you see real-time P&L. Okay? Let's go ahead and close that trade. Right here on the right-hand side, I can sell market.
Order filled.
And that's it. One click sends a market order to close whatever I have there. If you want to specify the price, let's say that you're looking at the Bank of America and you want to be a buyer, but at 26.75. And I'm going to change my quantity to 1,000 for that. All right, 1,000 shares. The duration, I'm going to change it to GTC. GTC is good till cancel. So the order will remain in the market until it gets canceled. So if I don't get filled today, it'll wait until tomorrow and the day after until it gets filled, or I cancel. That's why it's called good till cancel. So I come over here, and if I want to be a buyer, this is the price that I want, 26.75. I come over here to the blue, and you can see that I haven't clicked, but on the left-hand side it says buy 1,000 limit. So it's getting ready to buy. If I click inside the blue, I'm joining all those buyers of Bank of America at $26.75, and you can see the order sitting there. Now that's very convenient, and I did that with one click of the mouse. Now what happens if you change your mind and you say, well, I'm sitting here, I think something very good is going to happen to Bank of America, and it's going to go up. Let me change my price. Instead of $26.75, I'm going to raise it to $26.78. Matrix allows you to do that very easily. I'm going to click the order, raise it to $26.78. Notice that I'm doing click and drag, and I release. When you release, TradeStation cancels the original order and enters a new one for you. Different price. And I can do that many times. Let's say that the market still doesn't fill me. Well, I know the best selling
order filled.
There we go. Before I even had a chance to change it, it actually filled me at $26.78, which is fine. All right, I got a position. I can see my position up here included in they're sorted in alphabetical order. Right here is Bank of America. I can also see it right here in my matrix. I can see P&L right here on the left-hand side. And notice something really interesting. As I move up and down in the P&L, see how it's a selling transaction? I'm not clicking, but notice how it says sell 1,000 limit right there to the right. So by clicking on a P&L amount, you're sending an order to sell at that precise level. It's a quick way for you to send a stop and a target. So let's say, for example, you want to stop at $100. So if it loses $100, stop. I can click here. That's my stop in place right there. That gray box that you see there, not gray, I'm sorry, the red box is my stop. What if you want to cancel it? Take your cursor on top of it. Notice how it says cancel order. Click it. The order is canceled. If you want to do a profit target, you come over here to the positive side. You click on a positive amount, and that's your target to sell 1,000 shares of Bank of America if it goes up to $26.98. These orders can also be adjusted by clicking and dragging, and they can be canceled very quickly by clicking on them. And ideally, what you want to do is you want to bracket your position so that if one side gets filled, the other side gets canceled, and you are prepared. If it makes money, it captures the profit and it exits your position. But if it goes down against you, it also sells and it exits your position to avoid greater losses. You want to have those two scenarios pending, and if one gets filled, the other side gets canceled. The way you do that is with the help of an OCO. OCO stands for Order Cancels Order. We have multiple templates that you can use. Let me use this simple one. It's an exit bracket with one L, one S. One L, one S, what it just means is the type of order. It's one limit and one stop. So it's going to be a target and a stop. Now you can click on the little three dots right here on the right hand side to modify the distance. Let me show you what that dialog looks like. You can see the price offset. I can change it. Right now it's 10 cents. So what this does is going to put the stop at 10 cents below and the target at 10 cents above, which I'm going to use the defaults right now, but you can adjust them if you want. But if I click on this Place OCO Order button, what it does is exactly what you see right there. Two orders connected. If one gets filled, the other side gets canceled. Very convenient, and it's a great visual as well because you can see where the market is right now, where the buyers and sellers are, where your orders are, where the volume is. So you see a lot of information here on the matrix. And of course, you can move those orders to any different place if you want to. So I can click and drag and make my target 150, and then I can click and drag and make my stop 100. So all these orders can be clicked and dragged so that you can change the location or the price of your orders. All right, let me leave this Bank of America trade as it is. If it loses 100, it'll exit, and if it goes to 150, it'll buy. Let me go to something different. Let me go to a futures contract. I don't have a position on the S&P E-mini, so let's go ahead and load that symbol up. ESZ17. I'm pretty sure there's some futures traders in class, and I'm going to do this example on futures. By the way, if you are an options trader, come to my 12 p.m. class where I'm going to show you how to trade spreads on TradeStation Pro. Okay? Right here, I have the S&P E-mini. It's a futures contract. The functionality is exactly the same, but this time I'm going to do a different setup. Let's say, for example, that I think the S&P is going to go up, but I want to set my trade. But before I enter my trade to buy a contract, I want that trade to automatically have the target and the stop. You see, when I did Bank of America before, we did a limit order, got in, and then we had to put in the stop and the target. It's like a two-step process. But now I want everything to be inclusive, where when I send my buy order, it automatically has my target and my stop. So that's really a trade that I can set and just forget about it because I know it's being monitored by TradeStation. So what I do here is I'm going to put a check here where it says attach OSO. For some, this is familiar territory. For some of you, this is brand new. OCO and OSO. OCO is order cancels order, right? So we have a target and a stop. Depending on which one gets hit first, the other side gets canceled. And OSO is an order sends an order, which means that you have an order that has contingent orders. And they're only sent if the primary gets filled. So that's order sends order. And it's a very interesting concept. This is the way that it works. I'm going to attach an OSO, and we have a similar drop down with different templates. I know it may look complex, but it's not. It's different variations of the same thing. What I'm going to select here is an exit bracket, one limit, one stop, one target, and one stop loss. Very simple. Again, you can click on this little three dots to adjust the distance. I'm not going to do it for this class. I'm just going to leave it as it is. But notice what happens when I submit my entry order to buy the S&P E-mini. The quantity over here is 1. That's fine. Let's say that I want to trade it at $25.96. Right here is the price. If I want to buy it, I'm going to hover over the blue. and I click. This is my confirmation. The confirmation is a little bit longer because you have 3 different orders, the primary one and then the 2 contingent ones. I'm going to disable confirmation for now, say yes, and here it is. Take a look. The blue little box is my active order waiting to get filled. The 2 that are here are pending, are attached to my primary one. So I'm not sure if Ruben is asking this, but if you reach the price of any of those 2 orders, the limit and the target, nothing happens because those 2 orders are attached to the primary and they do not get activated until the primary gets filled. And that's the nature of this setup, where I can just leave my trade there. I have my entry order, the price that I want to get in at, but if I do get in, it already has my profit target and my stop loss. Let's go ahead and force the order to get filled. So I'm going to bring this buy order to the selling price. I know that the S&P is being sold at 25.98. That's where the sellers are. So if I bring my order up here, I should get filled. So they go ahead and do that.
Order filled.
I get filled, and notice the change in color. You see where the orders were a darker color, meaning that they were not active. Now the 2 orders are red because they've been activated by the fill of the primary. So it's an interesting concept where you can have multiple orders at once and send them with 1 click of the mouse. Very nice functionality. What I do recommend is that you open up a matrix in TradeStation and use this on the simulator. Get your hands wet on the functionality, how to send orders, OCOs and OSOs, and you'll see how it's not very difficult at all. I'm going to use the last few minutes of the class to show you a little bit of scanning. Okay, because I know scanning is a great tool, and I think it's one of the most powerful tools in TradeStation, especially if you're looking for trading opportunities. Everybody remembers what we were doing here on this chart, right here. This is Apple. We inserted the moving averages, right? We turned on the alert, and we're waiting for the alert to be triggered. But this is only on Apple, right? What if we want to follow 100 symbols or 300 symbols? It would be very difficult for me to open chart by chart 300 times, insert the moving averages 300 times, and then turn on the alert for each one. Not only that, not only the work of having to go through creating 300 charts, but monitoring them. It's a challenge. We offer a tool that allows you to do this type of scanning in just one single window. Let me open up a new workspace here. And I'm going to open up a trading app that we call the RadarScreen. RadarScreen comes up blank. I can type in symbols manually. So if I type in Microsoft, hit enter, APL, hit enter, BAC, hit enter, I can see the quote directly. That's not exactly what I want. I want to insert a prepackaged list of symbols, and I'm going to go to Data, add a symbol list. Take a look at, we have some prepackaged list of symbols like the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, or the Dow Jones Industrial. You can take a look at the other symbol lists that we have. They're grouped by industry sectors if you want to look at those. But for this example, I'm just going to choose the NASDAQ 100. That's going to insert the 100 symbols that make up the NASDAQ 100. Let me make this window bigger. All right. And I'm also going to make the font bigger so it's easier on your eyes. So I'm going to go to Format or Settings right here. Go to Page. Go to my font. I'm going to make font a 12 and bold for both the values and the settings. All right. There we go. That is better, easier on the eyes. So take a look at what's happening here. There is a column. The one that I'm clicking on right here, it says 5 minute. So notice how there's a time frame component to this window, which means that the radar screen is loading historical data for each one of the symbols here. So by inserting 100 symbols, I was able to create 100 chart analysis windows at once. Let's say that I don't want to look at 5-minute interval. Let's say that I want to look at a daily moving average. I'm going to click on the symbol header so that it highlights all the symbols. I'm going to click on time frame right up here and change all the symbols to daily. When I do that, notice how the interval column now it says daily. That's if the calculations that you're looking at, let's say a moving average, you're looking at a daily chart. So I'm going to click right here on this plus, which allows me to add a study. Or you can go to the studies little drop down here and do the same thing, add a study. And you're going to see that the same indicators that you find in charting, you're going to find right here in RadarScreen. Let me go ahead and look at the moving average 2-line. And I'm going to add it right here to my list of columns. I'm going to move it down so it's at the very end of the columns, and I'm going to click OK. So take a look. This is calculating the moving averages for each one of the symbols that are right on my screen. I did not have to open up a chart for each one, insert the moving average to see what the values are. This does the whole calculation at once. If I scroll down, I see all the values. Ideally, what I want to do now is, out of all these 100, which ones are crossing? I can do that very easily by turning on the alert on the column. So I right-click on the header, go to Studies, and I'm going to edit the moving average 2 lines for all symbols. So I'm going to go to Edit the column and go to the Alerts and enable the alert. I'm going to enable the alert on the whole column and look for all the different symbols that are crossing at this precise moment. For this, I'm going to disable the messaging. Remember that we talked about, sounds and pop-up windows. When you turn on an alert for 100 symbols at once, you may not want to get pop-up windows because it could be annoying to have to click through every single alert window for a list of 100. So I'm going to disable the messaging, and I'm going to show you how the alerts show up on the screen. There's a little corner. It's hard to see on your screen, but if you look at your TradeStation, every cell has an orange corner letting you know that there's an alert enabled and triggered inside that cell. And every so often, I see a red marker, like right here. This right here, there's a yellow marker for ATVI. And if I scroll down, I see multiple symbols that have a red marker. Those are the ones that I'm looking for, because those red markers let you know that that symbol is having a crossover as we speak in real time. This is a real-time scanner. Let's confirm. Oh, by the way, I don't have to keep on scrolling up and down to look for those red markers. So I'm going to turn on something in RadarScreen, which is sorting, which ranks my symbols by the alert. I'm going to right-click. This time, I'm going to click on Settings, Page. There's a Sort tab, and I'm going to force the RadarScreen to sort by the moving average 2-line alert. I click OK. Take a look. All these symbols, in total, there's about 10 symbols are giving me the alert at this precise moment. Let me resize my RadarScreen. This is what I like to do on my TradeStation. And I'm going to click on Apps and click on Chart Analysis, because I want to see a chart next to my RadarScreen. It enhances the visual. You can see where the moving averages are. I'm going to resize this chart so it fills this space right here on the right-hand side. I'm going to change the chart to daily. And I'm going to disable account orders and positions. One thing that I'm going to show you, which I haven't shown you yet, is linking. There's little buttons up here on the window that allow me to turn on window linking. And you have them when you click on the window, you have a little S right there. So I'm going to turn these on. These are part of the green group so that when I click on a symbol here, you see how the symbol gets loaded on the chart. So let's go ahead and take a look. But before I click on the symbol, let me insert the same moving average right here on the chart. So I'm going to go to Add Study, moving average 2-line. There it is. That's the one we were looking at. Let's look at the very top symbol right here, ATVI. Take a look. The moving averages are crossing on the current bar. Let's take a look at another one, ESRX. We see the crossover. It may not be very clear at this moment, and that's why the chart is very helpful, because you can see how the crossover looks in context with historical price movement. Well, let's look at Facebook right here. Facebook is also crossing at this precise moment. The same for Google. You see the crossover happening on the current bar. So this is the type of tool that allows you to scan the markets, have hundreds of symbols inserted and looking for certain, trading signals. It doesn't have to be what comes prepackaged on TradeStation. If there's something that you've thought about, a technical idea that you're looking for, and you want to be alerted when it's happening in real time, you can pretty much program that into TradeStation, and a window like RadarScreen can look for the symbols that are triggering that alert in real time. I think it's a very powerful tool, and I believe that it'll help you in your trading. So, as a recap, we touched on navigation, workspaces. Then we went over to charting, and I showed you how to insert indicators and drawing. We went over to the matrix to do some trading. If you remember, we did some OSOs and some OCOs, and then at the very end, we looked at scanning and how to do some real-time scans on TradeStation. So I encourage you to continue learning and continue looking at all the videos that are available in TradeStation. KE, I see your question about where does the alert come up? Is it only on the desktop, or can it be sent to the mobile? Well, on TradeStation, if you look at the alert settings, let me go over here to the alert settings. When you click on configure, you also have the ability to send an email to any email address. So if you have email, you can set your TradeStation platform to send you an email if an alert is triggered, which is very convenient, and that would be a way for you to get an alert on your mobile device. All right. And Marisa, she's asking about, can she call customer service to set up a target and a stop loss? Most certainly. We have a great team, technical support, that is available 24 hours a day and can walk you through different functionality of the TradeStation platform. So give them a call. We've reached the end of this class. In fact, I took an extra 5 minutes of your time, and I want to appreciate the time you all spent with me. Hopefully the information that I presented for you was not as complex and you were able to follow me. You have the links to the recordings in case you want to play with the functionality as well. But again, thank you for taking the time and being here and using the TradeStation platform. We're here to help you get started as quickly as possible. Our next class is in about 25 minutes, is about options and how to trade equity options using OptionStation Pro. So see everyone in that class, and hope to see everyone in the future event right here at TradeStation. Goodbye, everyone.